I'm Mai Salazar. Here are the latest stories. The Philippine Coast Guard and the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea observed Chinese maritime militia vessels in Sabina Shoal within the country's exclusive economic zone on end April. Denisa Fernandez shares more details.
The Philippine Coast Guard or PCG revealed that 7 China Maritime Militia vessels were spotted in Sabina Shoal. Sabina Shoal is located around 73 miles off Mapangkal Point, Rizal, Palawan. The PCG and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR found the vessels on April 27 about 9 a.m. while conducting a joint maritime exercise. After the BRP Cabra, MCS 3002 and MCS 3004 cited the 7 docked vessels, the Philippines sent a radio message.
This is Philippine Coast Guard, BRP Cabra MRRV 4409. You are within Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone. You are requested to provide the following: name of vessel, intention, last and next port of call, on Channel 16.
The PCG did not receive any response after 3 radio communication. Hence, the Philippine vessels approached the Chinese vessels and the latter immediately sailed off. The PCG and BFAR followed the Chinese vessels to ensure that they are out of Sabina Shoal. Meanwhile, the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea observed 5 Chinese maritime militias on April 29, 2 days after the initial sighting. The Chinese vessels left the area upon arrival of the BRP Cabra. For Golden Nation Network, this is Denisa Fernandez.
For further developments, National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon said today that the Philippines does not recognize China's yearly fishing ban that covers the West Philippine Sea. The fishing moratorium enforced by China since 1999 runs from May 1 to August 16 and covers areas of the South China Sea as well as other waters off China. Esperon said the moratorium does not cover fishing boats in the West Philippine Sea or Manila's exclusive economic zone. In a statement earlier today, Esperon said the ban does not apply to Filipino fishermen, adding that the National Task Force or NTF for the West Philippine Sea opposes China's imposition of the same over the areas within the territory and jurisdiction of the Philippines. He further stressed that the NTF encourages fisherfolk to fish in Philippine waters. For news on economy, the Philippine inflation rate remained at 4.5% in April, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. Denisa Fernandez fills us in with more details.
The Philippine inflation remained at 4.5% in April, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority today. The yearly increases were higher in the indicators of the following commodity groups: housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels at 1.5%, furnishing, household equipment and routine maintenance of the house at 2.1%, health at 3.1%, transport at 17.9%, communication at 0.3%, and restaurant and miscellaneous goods and services at 3.4%. Meanwhile, inflation declined in food and non-alcoholic beverages at 4.8%, while alcoholic beverages and tobacco at 12%. In Metro Manila, higher annual increases were observed in clothing and footwear, transport and restaurant and miscellaneous goods and services. Meanwhile, food, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, tobacco, housing among others had a relaxed annual increments in the capital region. In April 2020, the inflation was recorded at 2.2%. For Golden Nation Network, this is Denisa Fernandez.
We are your voice for change. We will keep on bringing updates and the latest stories. I'm Mai Salazar. Watch these stories on News Force.
Here are today's headlines. Philippines administers 2 million COVID-19 vaccines. Food and Drug Administration grants emergency use authorization to Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. Philippine Coast Guard sees 7 China Maritime Militia vessels in Sabina Shoal. National Task Force for West Philippine Sea condemns Chinese Coast Guard's activities against Philippine Coast Guard. Inflation rate remains at 4.5% in April. India receives 5th COVID-19 aid from United States. Fair and balanced news. Comprehensive reports that will take you to the heart of the action. This is News Force.